We have Mr. Dennis, Long Island Gaming League.
What's that last name?
No. I remember your name. I just wanted to be like dramatic.
Oh, okay,
You know what I mean?
Got you.
I just wanted to be dramatic. That's all that was. That's all that was. So first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us on the Unscripted Podcast, All Talk. I am one of your hosts, Sam Legacy Mo Weta. My other host,
DJ MVP. Find me on Instagram, DJ MVP1, and tell them about where they can find you on social media.
So you can find us at LI Gaming League is all of our social media handles. But if you want to do a cheat code, just Google Esports Long Island and we'll pop up number one.
dope. That is dope. All right. So let's get right into the nitty gritty.
Let's go.
What made you start this? How did you start? Who got you started? What was your motivation behind it? All that good stuff.
So funny story how it kind of got started. Was working with kids for NYIT STEM program with a partner, Mitchell Backus, right?
Okay.
And he was very much into sports, and I wasn't at all.
Okay.
So he was always talking about, we should do a league, and I'm like, man, I don't know nothing about no sports, I'm not doing no league. But we're working with the kids at NYIT and doing a STEM program. We had what was called How to Create a Podcast.
Oh.
And
Ironically, you're on a podcast.
Hey, you go.
Hey,
listen,
Why don't you
look
teach
at
us?
that.
come full circle. So we were talking about how to create a podcast, and the premise was just kind of showing them through the steps, but they didn't know they were going to be guests.
Okay.
So they came on, they started becoming guests, and as they were talking, they started talking about video games and gaming, and it was like, this was something that they were really into, and this was back in 2019 or 2009. It wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
But so I was like, man, these kids are really into this game and stuff. Like, what's going on? Because at this point, I was so far removed from playing video games. So I started looking at it. It was really blowing up. You had the kids winning millions of dollars, and it was just going. So I was like, wait a minute. I said, okay, he's always talking about a league. These kids are always playing, but they don't know nothing about the opportunity that they have. And the way I looked at it was, if we had an opportunity to be a part of the NFL before it became the NFL, we might have moved differently when getting into it. So after talking with Mitch, and I was just like, man, I got an idea. And he's like, what? There you go, right? We all know what that sound is. That's huge. It's known. So I told him, I was like, listen, I said, I got an idea. And he's like, what? What's up? I said, yeah, we should create a gaming league. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I know, right? But it wasn't in the sense of just playing video games. We were already trying to, premise was to teach kids.
Okay.
And from there, the Long Island Gaming League was created, but it was from an educational standpoint to really help the kids learn the game of esports, and hence it came into a league. But Mitch would always make fun of me because whenever it be March Madness, he would say, oh, you're going to do your friends and family pick. And that's when I would just pick teams based on if I had a family that lived in that state or I liked the color of it or something like that. But the joke kind of goes, is like now the Long Island Gaming League has been created from somebody who wasn't really into sports and know nothing like that, but it was to give back to the kids.
That's awesome.
All right. So has there been any moment during that you felt like, okay, this is significant. This is worth everything that we're doing. Has there been one specific
Oh man,
good question, right?
Yeah. Okay. There's no prompted questions here. There's no screens. It's okay.
Yeah.
So what I would say, has there been a moment? There's probably been quite a few. One in particular, we were doing a program with one of the kids, and we were asking questions. They was having a good time, and they had said that they started to learn better English through gaming with other people.
Oh, that's dope.
And that was kind of like a moment like, wow, to think about how much they play these games, how much they're on it, that they can learn the language through just playing games that nobody knows about. So that was kind of one of the moments when we were sitting down talking with the kids and just kind of seeing, how's your day, how you going when they come into the classroom. We're working with them. To have that be something that they said from gaming was definitely one of the monumental moments that stood out in my mind when I heard one of the kids say that.
So do you speak any other languages?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, you want to say
Neither do
mumble
I.
here, stutter there, but not no other languages.
Okay.
No
Okay.
other language.
So are you originally from Long Island or like?
Yes.
Okay.
I grew up in Bayshore, New
Dope.
York, on Long Island. So I'm Long Island born. As some would call me, a Suffolk Countyan. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I don't venture out to Nassau too often, but yeah. So from Bayshore.
Okay. So, did you experience like any backlash in the beginning, like any like trials and tribulations, like that you learned from and you adjusted and did everything to kind of make progress per se?
With the league or just personally?
Well, yeah, from the league.
From the league. Yeah, a lot of pushback was trying to educate people what esports was and what they thought it was.
Okay.
And it had a lot of negative outlook in terms of, it's a bunch of gamers, they're lazy, a lot of bad mouthing, a lot of bullying. So that was a lot of adversity we had hit at early on with, man, people don't really understand what this is. They think when I talk about gaming, they're thinking just somebody's, sitting here. So the adversity we had was really trying to educate people.
Okay.
One, that gaming is a big opportunity, and two, you have a misconception of what does a gamer even look like, right?
Yeah.
You might think it's a young kid, and you go, oh, he's a gamer, but there's a whole demographic that grew up playing games that might be lawyers, doctors, who still play at home. You don't know about that. So,
Yeah, I know, like a lot of people, that's a release. Like, I know guys that are like contractors and like they go home and it's like they plug in World of Warcraft and it's like they're on the headset doing their thing. You know?
Yep. So that was definitely one of the major things that we had to face as we were trying to either work with parents, other institutions, even some of the kids where, again, they hear Long Island Gaming League and they think, oh, this is just a bunch of video games.
Yeah.
And it gave us the opportunity to kind of educate them and say, no, this is not what it's all about. But we had to figure out how to get our message across other than just be considered a video game company.
Now, I got a quick question. Have you gotten into like coding or programming games or also game testing with some of these guys? Because like I know that's a part of that niche. That's like there's a lot of money in the game testing, and like someone like our age could even travel and just go do this, like from LA to Tokyo.
So we have had some experience. That was something that we brought on late last year. Our program, we have an esports curriculum, about 25 workshops, and one of the ones we added last year was coding. And we had the opportunity to work with the Amityville Middle School and taught some kids some coding about we didn't teach them about video games as of yet, but we taught them coding as far as how to create like a music video. So that's something that we're slowly introducing into what we teach, what we educate, is some coding aspects.
That's awesome.
You said you have a partner.
Yeah.
Like how has that been? Like, have you has it been a smooth ride? Do you feel like having a partner is like what is essential? Like, and because like we have our own thing.
Okay.
Right. So, but it's also like understanding the bigger picture.
Right.
And so that's something that we always talk about, and what's going to be effective and what's not effective. How do you guys approach whatever you're doing? And like, so for example, like give me, all right, I'm new to this,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So break it down step by step. Like, okay, step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this, and are you renting a space? Like,
So you because I know you asked about how is it like working with a partner.
that first place. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got through everything.
Oh
show
yeah.
once.
Because I try to make sure I listen and I want to make sure that I answer your question.
Got it.
So our relationship with doing things is like we're opposites.
Okay.
Right. So that kind of complements the way we do things.
Okay.
So we don't necessarily always agree on certain things, but we do realize that we both have a valid point because we've gotten this far, since 2019 to be.
So you just remain open-minded.
Yeah, we remain open-minded to a lot of different things, or we've learned to table certain stuff as far as working together.
Okay.
So I focus more on the aspects of the overall movement of the organization, and he's taking the helm of the educational aspect of the organization. He's the one who's dealing with the kids mostly, working in the schools, and really being hands-on with them,
Okay.
where I'm just kind of scoping out the overall vision for the brand, for the league, and then we'll come together and say, all right, well, where are we? What do we need? And like again, sometimes the best thing is that we don't always agree, but we agree to disagree and table things. And at some point, one of us will actually remember what the other said. Like, hey, remember that idea that was shot down? Mostly me as the person who does that. Right? I ain't gonna lie. But I come back to him like, I think we should do it. And I think we work well with that as far as he gets me, I get him, and our biggest thing is execute. So we don't like to talk about anything and not execute on it.
That's fire.
So
That's fire.
yeah.
So now, because it's called the Long Island Gaming League, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming my idea, or I'm already picturing, is like, so you have like Amityville, you have Bayshore, you have these different schools, and you're training them as individual teams, and then they compete at some point, correct? Or the whole league as a whole goes against other leagues in some kind of gaming competition.
No, you had it right. So you have your different townships, and they'll compete against each other, hypothetically. And then the league itself is overarching because there's a lot more that goes into it, right? So when you think of, I keep using NFL as an example, but when you think of NFL, yeah, you think of sports teams, but what does that organization encompass? What is everything else that's behind it? So I was like, so what is everything else that is kind of behind it? So we're more than just a gaming league where we're putting competitions against townships.
Okay.
But if we're going into your town, we want you to compete, but we also want you to understand and learn. So, if we have Amityville, then we want you to learn about our workshops. If we're there, we want to maybe show you coding. And then you can get to the competition.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So
It's almost like a vetting process. It's like
exactly.
you can't just join the squad right away. You got to sit on the bench, get educated, learn, join the ranks, and then
right, and then compete, because at that point you're playing into a whole new game, and you understand. Not only are you passionate about this, but what are some other opportunities you can utilize from this experience versus just playing video games just to play video games.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you're like kind of creating like people that are probably going to get into computer science as their major. You know what I mean? Because if you're teaching them coding, the thing now that like, and it's a little bit easier because you have AI. That is dealing with that as well. So, but that's dope. So like, how are you gaining your clients per se? Like, are you advertising? Are you like, what are the steps that you're using to gain like more of an exposure to what you're doing?
Okay. So one of the things that we're doing is you mentioned that we're teaching them coding, or if they want to go into that particular realm. The way we get other clients is we open up their eyes to see that there is literally more to that. So we'll take fashion, for instance, right? So let's say this kid is not technically savvy, doesn't know numbers, but they're really into fashion. Well, how does that interact with the gaming industry? Well, most of these games, if you have any kids who play Fortnite or any type of game, they have skins, which is designed by somebody, which is a stylistic digital version, which is a career that goes into it. So the way we've gained or garnered new clients is by showing them the relatability of the industry that is growing to how it can relate to their target audience. So schools are trying to capture their kids. Let's say not every kid's going to be an athlete. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So they might want to work with us because we're giving them sports that's not athletic. Let's say they might have some kids who they may consider to be isolated from the rest of them. You have the jock, and then you have the kid who doesn't really socialize. You call him the nerd. Well, then we put them together. They both like a game. Now we're creating community.
Yeah.
Right? So we really have taken what esports is in a way to address the specifics of an individual, because we all have different interests, but how do we relate to that interest?
Yeah.
And that's what we do through our program. That's how we've been able to garner new clients, is by showing them that there is more to esports than that particular career. Like doctor, right?
Yeah.
How does that factor into gaming?
Yeah.
As technology has continued to grow, a lot of doctors now, think of your brain surgeons, they use joysticks. So now think of the kid who's been playing on the joystick since who knows how long.
Yeah.
He already
His hands
has
are gonna
that.
be amazing.
His hands are already amazing. So now he understands that he might want to go into the medical field.
Mm.
He might want to pursue that, but it's getting them younger and explaining that just because you're playing video games doesn't mean I can't educate you something else. But the game got you here.
Yeah, no, they get that dexterity in their fingers.
Exactly.
There was even a game that I had at once that was like an ER game.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it was like, oh, you got to make the incision, and then you made the incision, and then you got to stitch them up, and whatever it is, you got to remove the artifacts, like,
Yes.
you know, the little and so it's like, that in itself is a video game. It's like, that might, if I was like 6 or 7, that might inspire me to understand more about medical science.
Right.
And then, like you said, the playing with the joysticks, like now they have these robots that go in and do the surgery.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And to specifically answer that question as far as how, so for the listeners who might need I'm a practical person, an actionable person, as I said. So one of the things that we would do is we would host an open house.
Okay.
And we would try to find a venue that might be interested in doing it. And, you know, if we had the opportunity to front the cost, we would do the open house and we invite the community in. So they could see what it is, because telling somebody, again, our biggest problem was you're thinking we're just video games, so you don't see what we actually do. So we would hold open houses is one of the ways that we would garner new customers. It was very effective for us.
That's what's up. That's dope, though. I really like the concept. The next question I have is like, what is your like demographic ethnically? Like, do you see more African Americans? Do you see more Latinos? Do you see more Caucasians, etc.? Like, who do you see that's like fully engaged?
Got it. Definitely another good question. And because we have two aspects, one with the school, that's very diverse. Then we have the 21 to 30, 31, 34-year-old. Believe it or not, the demographic is more so followed to the games. It's very diverse. But if you were to say FIFA would be a heavy Latino community, you might think NBA 2K is a heavy black or minority community. And you may say Smash Bros might be a Caucasian community. So the community that we engage with the most is really given on the games, because they're very loyal to the game they play, and that's kind of what will bring in our demographic. But they're generally at the youngest, 11, that would really cater to with the parents' consent, and at the oldest, they would be 34. So it is an equalizer. It brings all colors, races, male, female together.
Okay.
So very diverse.
Have you had anyone that was part of it come back and say, hey, I want to be a part of the staff or part of like the journey and everything else? Do you see yourself branching past Long Island?
So to answer the question, if I ever see somebody come back to us, yes. If he tunes in now, his name is Elvis. So Elvis came to one of our open houses that we held at Microsoft in I believe it was the Walt Whitman Mall. Right? Never seen me. He said, "Hey, you guys are doing an open house." He showed up, and after everything was done, he's I wouldn't say older gentleman. He's out of college. He was out of high school at this point. And he comes and he said, "Hey, I like what you guys are doing. I want to be able to work with you. I think I could add value to what you're doing." So I said, "All right, well, I'm glad you showed up. We'll talk. Give me a call." So he gave me a call. We met at Starbucks, and from there, I said, "Look, you're willing to come on board. You understand our vision." And he runs what's called our Dojo Rivals, which is a esports competitive fighting league here on Long Island, specializing in Street Fighter, Tekken 7, and together with that collaboration, we were able to do that. He's actually a real martial artist.
Oh.
So it kind of blended, but it did come from him just seeing what we did and wanting to be a part of it, and then us kind of working with his passion and creating something for the rest of the community.
No, that's dope. That's dope. So what is your favorite game? Like
right now, Apex Legends.
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't get into Apex.
You know what? I was forced upon me. I will say that. I used to play Call of Duty a lot, and that was my game. And then they started doing this weird space age flying through the air, and I was like, all right, you know what?
Yeah.
It's too technical for me.
Yeah.
So then Apex came out, and then I played that. The new Call of Duty that's out, I do play.
Warzone?
Yeah, so I do play that. But Apex I would say that's my game right now.
It's crazy. My daughter is a beast at Call of Duty Mobile. Not regular Call of Duty, because I don't try to play the Xbox with her.
Yeah.
She It's like at times she's like, it's too fast. But if we play on the mobile, and she's just using the phone. Meanwhile, I'm cheating. I got a whole controller for my phone. You know what I mean? And she still comes in at the top. It's unbelievable, bro. It is unbelievable. So Apex is your number one game.
Yep.
No 2K, no NFL Madden.
2K, I'm terrible at that.
Really?
Yeah, man. Lining up the free throw, I just run up and down the court. That's it. You know, every time I stop and shoot, it's a break.
Oh,
every
Lord.
single time. You know,
Oh,
it
Lord,
looks
Lord.
fun, and I think what the NBA did with their franchising their 2K and having pro teams is absolutely amazing. But that game, I am not good at all. Can't make one shot.
So now, for example, right? So I personally want to make my own video game. I'm not gonna say what it is, because we live. I don't want nobody stealing my ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a great concept. Let me take that, buddy.
Yeah. What's up? Which
So how would, like, let's say if I'm like, yo, I got this idea for a video game. Would you be able to direct me to like an EA or a 2K or a Rockstar? Have you gotten those kind of connections yet? Like,
so we have worked with some of those organizations. We worked with a company called ESL. They had given us some tickets to give away to our members. We've been in contact with Riot. We haven't worked with them, but we have had communications with them. And the reason why we were able to get some of those connections is because a lot of these organizations were trying to figure out how could they reach the youth or, you know, the schools.
Yeah.
And esports, again, is still growing. There's a big void there. So we were fortunate enough to have early on a lot of communications and build relationships with those organizations.
okay.
We haven't necessarily had to utilize them, but the relationship is there if need be in the future to say, hey, is there an opportunity for this? Because they're very receptive to it, because they're also trying to reach, you know, the younger demographic.
Very good. Very good.
So I might be able to, you know, plug in somewhere or point you in the right direction.
No doubt. Is that something for you, like, that you want to do? Like, do you see yourself designing a video game? Because I mean, like, once you play video games and it's a classic thing to say, and I know it sounds cheesy, but when you playing that game, you over here like, yo, they cheating, man. Yo, that's a book. Yo, they cheating. You know, like, do you see yourself wanting to just like, very good, Mike.
There's no point with this.
Oh,
I like
bro.
it. I like it.
DJ MVP. Do you see yourself like designing like a specific game? Because I know there's, you know what I mean, I don't consider myself like a hardcore gamer, but there's like I'll delve in to get my mind off things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's times I'm like, this could never happen. Like, especially when I play 2K, I want to fight Ronnie 2K in real life, and that's like no joke. You know what I mean? So
shout out to 2K community.
Yeah, I mean, like,
we can set something up,
bro. It's unbelievable, because there's times it's like, yo, this would never happen. Like, somebody, I'm not saying I could have been in the league or not. Like, I'll never say no foolishness, but I played ball. Like, so there's times it's like, if I'm going for a block, I'm not gonna jump backwards to block somebody. It'd be stuff in the game that'd be like, yo, bro, that's not realistic.
Right.
You know? So do you find yourself like, yo, that's not the game cheating? Let me. Like, do you find yourself saying like, I want to create my own game?
Nah, you know, I've never thought about creating a game. I've always thought about how could I make that experience better for those who play. You know, because I don't, you know, I for me when I play, it's like I said, I'm just I start losing enough times like I'm done. Yeah. But in that moment of while I'm playing, it's cool. It just reminds me when I was younger, when I used to play with my brother and some of my friends. Like, that vibe, that feeling, that was a cool experience. So now when I play, it doesn't really exist. So not necessarily to create a game, but to create an environment where gaming is that funness again, like that feel again with friends. So that if I can create anything along those lines, that's what it would be, but probably not a game specifically.
Oh, that's dope. I lost my whole train of thought. I had another great question for you. It's the gray hairs, man. It's the gray hairs.
We all getting it.
Yeah. So now, with your partner, you mentioned, you know, his responsibility is this, and your responsibilities. That
Yep.
do you find at times that you switch roles? Like, okay, I can't handle that, or I may be out of commission, or he may be out of commission. I'm gonna take this role, and do you find yourself doing that?
Yeah, we do a lot of cross, I guess, work for each other.
Okay.
Not as much as you would think, again, because we are very different. But we know enough about what the other one is doing to
Okay.
kind of bridge the gap.
Mm.
You know, like he's good at going into the schools and teaching kids, right? Now I can do it,
Okay.
but they're gonna look at me like, "What's this guy doing?" And honestly, it's happened. So this is all from experience.
We don't
right?
like Dennis.
Yeah. So it's talking, it happens from experience, but
Yeah.
you know, there are times where things are needed to be done.
Okay.
So in advance, we would try to figure out, all right, we know you can't talk for a good 40 minutes. So since you're going to fill in, here, put this video on, and you can talk for like 20 minutes. And that's kind of how like that compromise would be, because if we step into each other's lanes, because we're so different, that's our strength.
Okay.
But if we do, we try to make sure we adjust it. So at the end of the day, the product is still delivered, but it's delivered to the other person's strength.
Gotcha.
So, you know.
All right. So the question, I actually have two. The first question is Xbox or PS4.
Xbox.
PS5.
Xbox all day.
He didn't even hesitate.
I was waiting for it. I love that question.
Yeah. You know, I'm let down with Xbox. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have the Xbox, the Series X, the black one. You can't. The white one is trash. I don't even know why they made it. You know what I mean? Because it can't handle what the new technology is giving.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So they just put it out to try to save bucks, and it just ended up hurting them. Whatever. When I bought it, right? They made a whole thing saying that you'll be able to play the original
Oh yeah.
Xbox games and the 360 games and all that. I still have my original Xbox. I have my 360, mainly due to the fact that when I used to bring the games to GameStop, bro, I spent $60. Now you trying to give me a quarter. I'm gonna just keep the game.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I had that mindset, because now a lot of people are like streaming these old games and everything else like that. But Xbox, if you watching, you let me down. You lied. You said that we'd be able to play all these old games.
I wish I had saved this Instagram video. Like, if I was more prepared today, I would have. And the guy had a TV, but it looked like a Wii. Like a giant Wii.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
it opened up and it had all the systems there, the control. I was like, I saw that. I was like, yo,
Fire.
one day.
Yeah,
And I'm not a big gamer. Like, I play a couple things on my phone. Like, I have not bought a system. Like, you guys are gonna laugh, since like a PS1.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm outdated. You know, this is my game right here. This is my favorite video game. And on this game, you know what? I'm golden. I'm happy.
The championship. Very good.
There you go. That's how you get them
I
wins.
always win at this game. I never lose at this game.
That's how you get them W's.
Now, what's your game? Like, you just go in and it's like, yo, come on, yeah, like let's play this. Like, I never played this one before, and you just like, whipping it, killing people.
So the game, I would probably say, man, that I used to be nice in Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Now that was like the game I used to be able to put hands on people and really do it. The older game was Soul Calibur, was another game that I was good at. So I was really good at the fighting game. But this was back when they had the big, you know, you had to put your quarter on, and that's when I was good. When it started to get smaller into the handhelds, I was getting spanked all the time. But you know, a lot of the guys now, they have what I think they're called like a hitbox. And they're just smaller versions of when you used to play and sit down with the joystick and put your quarter on. Now they have those, so a little bit now and then I'll play with that. But Tekken, Soul Calibur is when, you know, when I put my quarter down, I was coming for you. Now,
That's so crazy.
You know, now games, I'm just lucky. I'm just lucky to be there.
Yeah, even if you go to like Dave and Buster's, like it's a totally different world.
Yeah.
And like when we would go to the arcade and play Ninja Turtles or like X-Men and stuff like that.
Those games, man, go far.
There's a spot, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but called Barcade. It's out in like Williamsburg. And so they got all the classic like arcade style games, and they're still at the original prices. They didn't inflate them to $1 or whatever. So you go in there with $20, get a bucket of quarters, and you just playing all these. They even have like some of like the Atari style games. Like,
Yeah, the retro game community or like older games is still really big here on Long Island. It's you have the new age like esports, video games, like the industry I'm in, but the retro games as you were speaking of still very, very big.
Very, because you know what it is, in my opinion, right? And I'm gonna ask you another question after.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that those games are fun?
Yes.
A lot of these new games aren't fun. They're not fun. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's like, and I think the problem with that a lot of these developers are not understanding.
Right.
Is that people want to play with their friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So a lot of these games, you're like imagine, like, for example, what's the Dante, what the Capcom. He's like part demon. He has a half brother that.
Oh yeah, I believe
Devils. I'm seeing the character. He has a red coat. He has guns. He's from Capcom. He kills like different demons.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I'm sure anybody who watches this or watches this later, comment and help us all out.
Yeah, facts. It's
I can't think of the
Devil something. Devil May Cry.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Jeez.
It was on the tip of the tongue.
Yeah, I know it's Devil something. So, for example, like imagine like a Devil May Cry, but you get to play with 4 of your friends. Oh my God.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because it's like it's a big world. It's different things. It's help me, I'm getting jumped. No, nobody like they don't understand. Like it's not fun. Yeah. It's not fun. Like I played with my daughter recently.
Okay.
We've been struggling. We did good, and then but it's still fun.
Yeah.
360. Army of Two.
Okay. Oh yeah. I played that game before.
Bro, me and my daughter, we went through the couple like. I'm like, Angelina, yo, shoot this person. What the hell, man? I'm over here getting shot. Dad, help me snipe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, this shit is actually fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no new games that I feel like, ooh, and the prices are so high. Like $80 for a game. I'm like, for what? I don't even know if it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I've noticed that I've been going back to, you know, and even my daughter, like, the thing that she plays the most, she's 13, is The Sims.
Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with The Sims.
Yeah, Sim City and even
bro.
She still got this little thing on top.
Yo, bro, she plays no games. She's like, Dad, can I have $20? They're having a new pack. It's gonna have dogs and seasons and everything. I'm like, yo, this game.
Yeah. I can take my characters to the nail salon.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, like it's crazy. So that's one thing. The question that I have for you now is, how do you feel about like, because you mentioned like how people are making money and everything off of that.
Yep.
How do you feel about like guys like Ninja and you know all these other streamers that you know were godly at the games.
Right.
Now it looks like people have caught up to it because I've watched a couple of Ninja streams just to see like you know what the hype was about. In the beginning, I was like, man, he's good. Now it's like they've gone through your scheme. They've gone through your scheme.
Yeah.
You know?
So how I feel about it, I think it's definitely great that it's a way for gamers to generate revenue.
Yeah.
So those who are really skilled at it, I applaud them because the way how advanced games have gotten now, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I definitely shout out to all the streamers that are out there. But it's a double-edged sword from the way I've approached the overall esports industry as a whole. It's kind of like the youth, right? Because if you think about how young these gamers are, because Ninja's not that old, right?
Yeah.
And then some of those other streamers are not that old.
Yeah.
How long do they last in this industry? Right? This is $1 billion industry.
That's a fact.
So if you think about the other sports, the longevity is there. So you have professional the you burn out physically.
Like the GOAT, 20 years, man.
Yeah. So with the esports industry, they burn out even faster. So I respect what these streamers are able to do, but our goal is to really help the younger ones come in, not get caught into that rat race to where they gotta constantly stream or feel they have to be the best in order to make money at hours upon a time sitting in front of the screen versus what are the other opportunities behind the screen?
Okay.
And then you're streaming like a ninja at your leisure, making millions of dollars instead of streaming your life away to get to that point. And by the time you hit it, you're burnt out. So you're saying, so again, I have respect for that, and I think it is great. But I feel that the industry is misleading some of the younger gamers because they get them so young and they're out of it so short. Like the average gamers be like at their 20s. And what do they do after that? You know, they could have had millions, and then what are they going to do when they're 30 or when they're 40? So that's kind of been our approach. That's why we've always led with education first when it comes to esports.
Okay.
Before we can't teach them how to be better gamers at the end of the day.
Facts.
So
you know what's crazy? So there's now this is a second part.
Yep. Yeah. Good.
Right. There's the PC gaming, which is another world.
Yes.
Right. And I randomly watched because you mentioned an older guy. He probably is like maybe 50. White guy.
Yep.
He plays GTA, but the GTA they're playing is so different than the ones that because it's not like the modded one where. It's the Hulk running around and Spider-Man. Like, I've seen those, and I'm like, that's corny. But this one, his whole, like, when he streams, he's just doing missions as a cop.
Okay.
And it's other police streamers.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo. Because, like, when they put you in jail, it's not like, oh, I'm going to restart and I'm out of jail. No. You're in jail unless you delete that character and start all over. It's so crazy how
that's dope.
that concept is. So my question is now, like, how do you feel with PC? Because obviously PC can do way more than Xbox and PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different world.
Right.
So have you introduced that to what you do as well? Like, all right, for those who have PC games, like my little brother plays this game called Brawlhalla.
Yep.
Right?
Familiar with that? Yes.
And he's disgusting on the keyboard.
Really?
He's bro.
Okay.
It's like, and now that you can connect your keyboard to the Xbox, so when he's playing people online, they think he's using the controller. Meanwhile, he's on the keyboard violently. like it's not even fair. So like the question I have for you is like, have you brought PCs to your events, or is it only Xbox? Is it only PS5? Is it a combination of everything? Is it the Wii? Is it the Switch? Is it this? Is it that?
Got it. So for our events, we tend to bring Xbox, PlayStations, and Switches. We don't really bring PCs. Just these PCs, a lot of them, the way they run, are extremely expensive or customized.
Yeah.
And, they're not necessarily like a leisure tool to where you're going to play leisurely and you're going to bring it out because you fry a motherboard or something, you have a couple of grand, right?
Facts.
Yeah, like if you get a stock HP, it cannot handle.
No.
Right.
Like you need to get an Alienware computer, or it needs to be built. Like even like what I'm working with, a MacBook Pro, is not a gaming computer.
Well, I mean, if you have the MacBook Pro 16 with the M2 chip, it can handle it.
Yeah, but we do use for our esports curriculum program in the school. We do have laptops.
Okay.
So they're able to play on the laptops in the towers.
And so what are they doing? Like Minecraft, Fortnite?
They do. You can play pretty much all the games on it, but they do Minecraft, Fortnite on the keyboard. But the keyboard, you can do Overwatch. So they have different games that they're able to play on the keyboard and use the keys. And some students, as you were saying, as you mentioned before, that some of them are really nice with keyboards and the mouse. Like the way. That's a whole nother level of
intellect,
playing.
in my opinion.
It's crazy, but so that's how we introduce them. Usually for our events, we stick to consoles. Within the school, we do use PCs, laptops, and sometimes consoles. It's a blend there.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. So, do you have any kids?
No kids.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you, how is this affecting because girls play games too. Like,
Yes,
I come across girl gamers that stream and everything else like that. So have you met like a special lady on some, you know what I mean? Like, because like for example, me, I'm into anime. I'm an anime head. So I've been anime since out the womb. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like
Okay.
all jokes aside, so
Yeah.
like now it's popular. Now it's okay to watch anime. And
Like
it's
Naruto, or you older than you?
Nah,
what type of anime?
bro, I'm Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm Sailor Moon.
Okay,
Obviously,
Sailor
original
Moon,
Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Gundam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could name 1,000
Gotcha.
animes. Like I'm one of those that like, oh, you need to watch this, or you need to watch that, oh, you need to watch this. You know what I mean? Like it's just a different facet. So now with gaming,
Yeah.
because those
Gotcha.
two correlate. Because now, before nobody was, that's what you do is play video games. Grow up. Now when you're making over 10 million a year,
I'm grown now.
you know what I mean, right? Like, so,
Shoot.
like, has that affected your dating pool at all, or?
No, I wouldn't say it's affected that. I think that it has allowed more of the reserve gamers to be exposed to the dating or getting them out there because of, like you were just saying, anime or somebody going to Comic-Con or that environment. It creates that commonality.
Okay.
Right? So when you're trying to date anybody, you're like, all right, what do we got in common? What can we talk about?
Yeah.
So if you think of a gamer and a girl who's not a gamer, you can't really talk to her. Right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to hear about that. But so I think it has been beneficial to some of those gamers to be exposed to like a girl who may play games or might be just as good as he is, and they can kind of talk about that, and they can do co-op missions and stuff like that. So I think it's cool. A lot of the gamers I've met that are in relationships have kind of stemmed either from meeting through the game or he's like, hey, honey, come sit with me, and they play together.
Oh, that's dope.
So there's a bond building that way as well.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope as hell, man. Oh, man.
One day, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. You draw him into play. Like, he was gonna play with me real quick.
Yeah.
You can even get them like on that message chat. Cause like
Yeah.
any game I've seen recently, they have that. It's like I was on like a gambling game. It was Game of Thrones. So like
Okay.
they had all these different themed slots.
Yeah.
But then you join the team, so you're all like the teams competing against other teams, and like that was a whole different thing outside the slot. But there was a message board.
Yeah.
And so you just like, hey, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Like, make sure you play that slot so we can complete the mission because, like, we got to play these 10 games, and win so much, whatever. And then, like, a fighting game, like, obviously with the headsets, with Modern Warfare, if you're playing, you could, I don't know as much, but, like, you can have that interleague where it's just your squad, or you could just connect to anyone in the world. And it's like, wait, your voice sound kind of cute. Where you at?
He's like, hey now.
I'm flying to Germany next week.
Listen, I'm sure it happens, man. So yeah, it does bring people together in very unique ways. 100%.
That's dope. That's dope as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay, so we have roughly 15 minutes left.
Okay.
I want you, if you have a website,
Yeah.
please give them the website, how they can get in contact with you, obviously
Got it.
social media,
Yep.
your mission statement. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding.
hey, that's what
Yeah,
we about. Yeah.
So, the floor is yours.
All right. So everybody's tuned in. You can find us thelongislandgamingleague.com is our website. We are on Facebook. We're on Twitch. On Twitch, we're LI Gaming League TV. We're on YouTube, LI Gaming League. We're on Twitter, LI Gaming League.
Fire.
And we're on Instagram, if you guys haven't noticed the pattern, LI Gaming League. So we're on all those social media. We do have a Discord. I'm not fairly familiar with Discord because I don't think you can give it a name, but it has a bunch of numbers. So we use Linktree. Linktree is connected to all of our platforms. So if you click on our Linktree, then you will be able to access all of our other social media platforms. And we hope that you follow us, you engage, and you enjoy a lot of the unique gaming experiences, what we call UGEs, that we host here on Long Island. Oh, and there was a question you'd asked me before about just being on Long Island when we go anywhere else. And my team will tell you the answer to that question is just Long Island.
Wow.
That was something early on that we wanted to focus on, and we are going to be Long Island. Our home is Long Island, and we want to do everything we can to make Long Island an esports hub for everybody to follow or get behind and support. and we want to be a part of that. So we will not be going to any other location.
That's crazy. I like it though. I like it. I mean, that'd be dope. Like one day you host something that, I mean, unless you've done it already at like the Coliseum, that'd be fire.
No, we haven't done anything yet at the Coliseum, but we did have the opportunity to work with the Long Island Nets. We had a chance to work with the NBA 2K Nets gaming crew, so that's the branch of the NBA Nets.
Yeah, the G League.
Yeah, so we had a chance to work with them,
Yeah.
but we haven't necessarily did anything. But that is something we hope to do. So the more people who follow and support the Long Island Gaming League, the more the gaming community comes out, the more opportunities we're able to give, and maybe that will be something we could do for the community, is host a big game tournament, festival, expo, or something like that at the Nassau Coliseum. We should.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be fire. I hope you invite us.
Of course, man.
That'd be fire.
We gotta continue to keep things going.
Hell yeah,
So,
hell yeah. That's what's up, man. That's so dope.
absolutely.
Dennis, we thank you so much. Hopefully next time you come back, bring your partner. And
Yeah,
it could be
yeah.
the both of you guys. Like I
Yeah.
think that'd be freaking dope.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just get a different perspective and everything else like that.
Absolutely.
I did have one more question
What you got for me?
pertaining to games. What's
Oh,
the? Go ahead.
I was gonna add, like,
Yeah.
you mentioned how you're in Amityville. What other schools are you involved in? So, like, maybe some of the listeners out there, if their children are in this district or a family member, they can integrate,
Got it.
that child into your program.
Okay. So Amityville, we were there for just the one coding class, but we are at Wyandanch High School.
Mm-hmm.
We're there 5 days a week.
Dope.
And we have about roughly 120 students
That's awesome.
that we teach our esports curriculum to in school, not out of school. So if you want to work with us, parents, any parents listening to this and want to better assist your kids in playing the games that they love to do, but get behind them in a more educational way, reach out to your districts and let them know about the Long Island Gaming League, about our esports program that is up, running, and has been very effective for the past 2 years. So with the help of the community, we can get into more schools.
Well, I'm actually a PTA parent in the South Huntington School District.
Okay.
And one of the things our PTA does is actually do an educational day once a month. Like, they brought in, like, this guy, Corey the Dribbler. And you would think, oh, well, all he does is dribble a ball. But he also talked about his story, and that was part of it. Then they brought in, like, a magician. Like, trying to think of a couple of other, I think we have, like, a meteorologist coming in. So that's science. And it's like, so something like this, like, I already see it. My kid's going to be in this school for the next, like, 2 years. Like, I'm going to bring it up to the board. Like, let's bring in this. I know they have a coding program in my district because, like, I think my kid's a little too young in kindergarten for it right now, but it's something that, like, maybe the next year as his mathematics starts clicking in a little more, it's like, all right, let's try this, But I think overall for any district, this is, like, awesome because this is where our future is. Our future's on computers. These kids understand the technology way better than us. Like, my child at 2 years old knew to swipe left and right, and I give him other apps and he knows how to work them, surprisingly. He knows how to click X or the check, Daddy, me no like her.
No, that's cool. So I mean, even things like that, and the programs that we teach are very intricate. So we just did one. It's currently going on, and it's called Young Investing for Young Gamers, and we're teaching about the stock market. And again, it goes back to, well, why would we be teaching kids about the stock market? One, at least when I was growing up, nobody really taught me about it because I couldn't relate to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of these esports companies are publicly traded companies. So as a parent, if you're thinking about, okay, my child is playing XYZ game, just like they wear XYZ sneakers, but nobody has ownership in that.
Yeah.
So why not teach them, like, well, if you're playing that game, I'm going to spend $50 on the game, and $10 on that stock.
Yeah.
$50 on that game, $10 on that stock.
Yeah.
And now, if you guys can think about the games you play, if you play Call of Duty, how long you been playing that game?
Yeah, you said like Capcom before, or Rockstar.
Right,
Like
right? Those games are still around.
Yeah.
So imagine if you would have bought it when you were younger.
Facts.
Oh,
type
I
of
got Mega
investment.
Man when I first started shooting.
Exactly. So those are just an idea of the things that we teach when we talk about esports education. Is coding is what most people commonly do, but everybody's not going to be a coder. Everybody might not be into that. Stocks, maybe people don't teach it. Everybody's not going to be into it.
Should make a stock game, you know?
Again,
so it's like,
something like that.
introduce, especially like I would say the color community, you know, black community. We're probably a small demographic that's trading, you know, on the open market.
That's
And
a
if we
fact.
understood it more, it's like it's the biggest opportunity financially in our government is to be able to trade. And it's like, well, if I'm playing a game, there's no risk, and I learn how to actually get involved and play around with my money.
Yeah, no,
That's a
facts.
fact.
So that's just something that we currently have available. It's a 5-week program, and then I guess for any of your listeners who might be tuning in, you could access it for free.
Oh, wow.
To take it, you know, again, the point of what we're doing is to educate, and we will always be behind that premise.
Now that's fire.
So, then you guys, if you want to come into the workshop, to
Yeah,
kinda
bro.
see what it is, it might help you because you both said that you have children.
Yeah.
So having or knowing what games or that they may play that have stocks that you might want to buy for them now and put it into like a custodial account as they grow older, you gotta play that game all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that money back at some point. So
Yeah.
I'll keep buying and keep investing.
That's
so that was just
fire.
something.
I love it.
That's fire. All right, before I let you go, I got one more question for you.
Yep.
The question is, what is your least favorite game? What's a game you feel like, God, this is trash?
I was gonna play it was Call of Duty back in the day because every game was trash. But my least favorite game, oh man, because I really only play the ones I like. Like I play Apex, Fortnite, but I would say my least favorite game.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a hard one, man. They might want to work with me later.
All right, you can plead the fifth on that
Right,
question.
right.
You don't
No,
want to upset anybody out
you
there.
know, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a game that I just really didn't like anymore. Yeah. All right. That was a good question, man. So what's your least? The easiest is what's your favorite? I would say my least favorite game right now is. It's gotta be a game I'm really don't know how to play.
Maybe we'll say like style of games, like
Style games?
RPGs
Okay,
or
all right.
like
Maybe-
race car games,
yeah.
shooting games, cooperative play, like
Cooperative. All right,
style games.
so I would say my least favorite game is racing games.
Gotcha.
I could go with that because I'm trying to think of the other
I
games
could have
I'm
played
really
Gran
play.
Turismo for hours. I'm
Yeah,
souping up the cars.
You
And
got me with that. That would literally be my least favorite game to play.
All right. I had you a little brain stuff.
Yeah, because I was like, the only games I play are the ones I like, and
Okay.
I just kind of stick to it. But there are games I've played before that I was like, man, this is boring. I don't want to play this game. So and that's kind of what went to that back category. I'm like,
Yeah.
what was the last game I wish I never bought? But no, so racing games, big games I don't like.
Got it. All right, DJ MVP, please tell them your social media handles and how they can contact you, my brother.
you can find me on Instagram. That's my favorite platform. DJ MVP1. Also on TikTok at DJ MVP01.
All right, dope. As for me, you know how it is. Sam Legacy, Moweta. That is my real last name. That's on all platforms. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And our Twitch is Unscripted ENT. And then obviously our podcast is Unscripted P.cast on Facebook and on Instagram. Dennis, it was a pleasure. It was a vibe. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It was dope. I'm honored for you being here, and like I said, we hope to have you back.
Definitely,
as a partner
definitely.
And, just delve more into it. But yeah, like that sounds like a great idea. Where maybe me and Mike we can come down, bring our kids,
Yep.
and just see what that's about and everything else, and just so forth. I think Miss M. Shout out to Maria. I think she'd be interested in that too.
Okay.
And she got 2 little ones.
Well, she has one little one who's not so little. Yeah, Nick. He's like 11, but he's getting pretty tall.
Okay.
And then she has a daughter in college,
All right.
and everything else. So, but yeah, man. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, remember you are loved, you are valued. You can do whatever you set your mind to as long as you believe it. You can achieve it. This is the Unscripted Podcast.
All talk.
And we are out of here.